I think for the next 2 seasons, it's going to be a slow, but hopefully not too sad of a road.
This was obviously a huge season for Rebecca's progression. How far in advance were you aware that this is where Rebecca was going?
I've known for quite a while that, at least for present day, and I guess looking into the future, how Rebecca's story sort of ends, not to put too fine a point on it or to get too melancholy. So I knew that this was the season we were going to start to sort of understand Rebecca's cognitive condition. I just didn't know when until maybe an episode or two before. I was like, oh, this is it. We're starting now. This is our entry point into things sort of really taking more of, a distinct turn, a noticeable turn.
I'm fine, Randall. I'm fine. I'm getting older.
For a show that sort of plays in time and with memory, and it being sort of about those two things, it's the most heartbreaking thing. For a family to be missing the patriarch and for so much of their lives to be hinged on trying to move forward beyond losing their dad and their husband, it feels like the cruelest thing of all then for my character to, very slowly but surely know and have to reckon with the fact that she's going to lose all that she has left of him and their time together and their family's time with him.
Now it's becoming obvious as we're heading into the tail seasons of the Pearson story that Rebecca is the center of this family. Has that changed how you approached her?
It really hasn't changed the way that I've approached the character. I mean, I feel like selfishly there's a little bit of gratitude, and I think for a while some people really had it out for Rebecca and they didn't like the choices she made, and I can totally understand that, but it really was sort of this superhero dad who could do no wrong in anyone's eyes. And that often is the case when someone passes away. They're put on a pedestal and there's no way to sort of humanize them. They do become this sort of otherworldly existence. And so it's been interesting for people to come around to Rebecca and to recognize that she has been the glue, and her sort of strength, her quiet strength and grace and determination to sort of keep the family together in the wake of losing Jack and this, central figure in all of their lives is really remarkable and commendable. And I'm glad that she as a character is starting to get the credit that I as an observer and someone who cares about her, I'm glad to see. I love her a lot.
After Dad died, I stayed at home. I took care of you.
We got a whole episode this season about how Randall is not over the Williams secret, which I feel like might have been a little surprising for some of us because we're like, oh, you've been acting like you're fine, bro.
It's interesting because I don't think he necessarily reveals anything. I think he just comes out of the blue with this assertion that he's been a good child and he wants something from me because he sort of let me off the hook for something that maybe he shouldn't have let me off the hook for. I think she was so confused as to where he was leading the conversation, and then for it to sort of end with, I need you to do something for me. I need you to do this clinical trial. And I think she was surprised that he would leverage that amount of guilt that she continues to feel, absolutely. But I think also assumed that maybe they were beyond it. Maybe they had reached an understanding. But I don't think she's fully aware of the work that he's doing on himself, that he's in therapy and all of these issues are coming up and bubbling up. I think it takes her by surprise, and it's truly her Achilles heel with him specifically. And she knows that she can't deny him this request because it's true. He really did allow her a lot of grace when it came to this, insane secret that she had been keeping from him and from the whole family. It's a lot to unpack.
You met our son's birth father, and then you lied to me about it for 17 years. What am I supposed to understand about that?
Randall made a huge assumption about what Rebecca would tell Jack immediately had he survived the fire.
Yeah.
did you have an idea of what the first thing she would have told Jack was had he survived the fire? Or do you think it would have been that secret?
I don't know if it would have been that secret, truth be told. I mean, on one hand, it's like it's easy to recognize, like, oh yeah, you've just been through this harrowing, life-threatening situation. What is something that, like, you feel like I would be devastated if you know, things had turned out differently and I hadn't told you this? But for me as an actor, and the way I've sort of always carried Rebecca, like, that secret is so buried. I really don't know, even in spite of him having perhaps in an alternate universe surviving the fire, I still don't know if she would have revealed that. Like, in Randall's perfect world, like, clearly mom is guilt-ridden and that would be the first thing she would spill her guts about. But for me, I think it's too deeply ingrained into, like, the very pit of the, like, bottom of who Rebecca is. And I just don't know if she would ever reveal that. I don't know what it would have taken, minus her child hiring a private detective and finding his birth father and her being confronted face to face with him. I think she really has always assumed beyond that, like, that was something she would take to the grave.